let's dive into the psychology of phishing. Because, it's not really about just fancy code or viruses. It's about how hackers exploit the way our brains are wired. We're going to break down something called the urgency trap.
So, have you ever wondered about this? You see a phishing email that seems so obviously fake later on, but you know some really brilliant people who've fallen for one. Why does that happen? Well, the answer has less to do with intelligence and, honestly, everything to do with our basic survival instincts.
To really get this, we first have to talk about something that's built right into all of us. Our brain's natural and usually very, very helpful safety alarm. I mean, think about it. For literally thousands of years, our survival depended on reacting instantly to danger, right? A predator rustling in the bushes, a rock falling from above. You didn't have time to think. Our brains evolved this incredibly powerful system just for that. Now, there's a technical name for this alarm system. It's called the stress response. It's this primal, deep-seated reaction that just floods your body with adrenaline and cortisol. It's all designed to get you ready for immediate protective action. It's there to save your life.
And this is the absolute key. The stress response cares about one thing above all else: speed. When that alarm bell starts ringing in your head, your body is primed to act, to fight, to run, not to sit back and logically break down the situation. Thinking comes way, way later.
Okay, so we have this powerful protective alarm. How in the world do hackers get around it? Well, here's the thing. They don't. They don't try to sneak past it. They walk right up and set it off on purpose. See, hackers aren't trying to trick your logical brain. Not at first, anyway. Their main goal is to deliberately trigger your nervous system's stress response. They want to kick you into that fast-thinking survival mode by creating a completely fake sense of urgency. So when you get that email with a subject line that's screaming at you, urgent, your account is suspended, or immediate payment required, that is a carefully crafted move to pull your brain's fire alarm. They're creating a digital emergency because they want you to have an emotional reaction, not a rational one. So what actually happens inside your head when that false alarm goes off? The results are instantaneous. Your brain's whole operating system just shifts gears, and in the process, it completely bypasses your logic center. When that stress response kicks in, you gotta understand, it's an either-or deal. Your brain just can't be in high-alert fight-or-flight mode and in deep analytical thought mode at the same time. It's one or the other. So that fast-thinking system takes over, and the slow, careful, logical system, it gets put on hold. Look at it this way. In a normal, calm state, we use logical thinking. Information comes in, we analyze it, and then we decide on an action. Simple enough. But when a hacker introduces urgency, that triggers stress, and it completely short-circuits the process. It pushes us directly from the input to the action. That crucial analysis step just gets skipped entirely. And to get a little technical for a second, we're actually talking about a specific part of your brain here, the prefrontal cortex. This is your command center. It's responsible for rational decisions, impulse control, thinking about consequences, all the smart stuff. When that phishing alarm sounds, the prefrontal cortex basically goes offline from it, and that's when we're most vulnerable. Okay, I know this all sounds a little scary, like we're hardwired to be hacked, but here's the really good news. You are not powerless here. Once you understand the trick they're playing, you can actually learn to hit the manual override on this system. The real key is just awareness. Seriously, just knowing that urgency is a manipulation tactic is the biggest first step you can take. When you spot the tactic, you start to diffuse its power. You can see the false alarm for exactly what it is. And this awareness breaks down into a really clear 3-step defense. First, you spot the urgent language. The second you see immediate action or account suspended, a little flag should go up. Second, and this is the most critical part of all, you just pause. Do nothing. Don't click, don't reply, just take a breath. That one simple act of inaction kills the emotional momentum. And third, you consciously engage your logic. You start asking simple questions like, was I expecting this email? Or does this even make sense? That's how you bring your prefrontal cortex back online. So look, the goal isn't to never feel that little jolt of panic again. That's gonna happen. The goal is to have a plan for when it does. You can think of this as your own personal mental fire drill. All right, let's just quickly recap the most important things here. Remember, urgency is the hacker's #1 tool for getting inside your head.
Your single most powerful defense isn't some fancy software. It's just a conscious pause. And the ultimate goal here is to practice this enough so that you can consistently turn that knee-jerk, panicked, emotional reaction into a calm, logical decision.
So I'll just leave you with this question, because there will be a next time. An email, a text, something is going to try to set off your alarm. The only real question is, now that you know the trick, are you going to react or are you going to take a moment and reason?